Question 1. When considering a high-load OLP environment, is to Navarro notices frequent? Checkpoint not complete messages in the alert log during peak transactions. What should he primarily adjust to reduce this alert frequency without compromising data integrity? A. Increase the size of redo log files. B. Decrease the log buffer size. C. Disable archive-log mode. D. Reduce SGA target size. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Larger redo log files allow more transactions before a log switch, reducing frequent checkpoints that can stall sessions. Reducing log buffer or SGA size can worsen performance by causing more frequent writes. Disabling archive-log removes recovery capability, which is unacceptable in production. Best practice in Oracle DBA tuning is to size redo logs to avoid log switches more than once every minutes during peak load. Question 2. Based on the information from a recent hour report, is Liang sees excessive hard passes for SUL queries. Which approach would most effectively reduce the CPU overhead from repeated passing? A. Decrease the shared pool size. B. Use bind variables in SUL statements. C. Disable cursor sharing. D. Increase the PGA aggregate target. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Bind variables allow reuse of execution plans, significantly reducing hard passes and CPU load. Decreasing the shared pool shrinks the space for caching past statements. Disabling cursor sharing increases plan compilation. Increasing PGA target effects, sort and join memory, not passing frequency. Oracle best practices emphasize consistent bind variable usage to improve performance and scalability. Question 3. The general consensus is that DoProcess plays a vital role in durability. In which situation did it initiate a write to redo logs before a transaction commits? A. The EBA writes dirty buffers. B. During a log switch checkpoint. C. When SMON performs instance recovery. D. On every select statement. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation in DoRICE redo for committed and uncommitted changes during instance recovery triggered by SMON to ensure redo consistent EBA writes to data files, not redo logs. Log switch checkpoints annul establishing data buffers of writes at commit or recovery events. Select statements are read-only and don't generate redo required activity. This reflects Oracle's recovery-oriented architecture. Question 4. Under the assumption that ISTGUPT configures automatic storage management ASM for a mixed workload database, which configuration best ensures balanced IO without manual file management? A. Use ASM with multiple failure groups in normal redundancy. B. Store or redo logs in the same disk group as data files. C. Use ASM external redundancy with one disk group only. D. Disable ASM rebalancing for stability. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Multiple failure groups in normal redundancy distribute data and provide fault tolerance with ASM automatically rebalancing for balanced IO. Placing redo logs with data files can cause contention. Single disk group in external redundancy limits distribution control. Disabling rebalancing defeats ASM's purpose of auto-optimizing IO. Oracle's ASM best practice is leveraging redundancy in distribution for optimal performance. Question 5. When analyzing startup phases, which stage is responsible for reading the control file to locate the database files but does not yet open them for user access? A. Null mount. B. Mount. C. Open. D. Restricted. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Mount stage reads the control file to locate database files and prepares for access but does not open data files. Null mount only reads initialization parameters and starts background processes. Open stage makes the database available for user connections. Restricted mode is an open mode with limited access. This startup sequencing ensures orderly initialization and integrity checking before access. Question 6. The effectiveness of data pump over conventional export-import utilities is often debated. Which feature specifically provides performance improvement by enabling direct path data access? A. Support for character set conversion. B. Parallel execution of export-import jobs. C. Direct path API usage. D. Ability to export to network file systems. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Direct Path API IPaaS SQL processing layer, writing directly to data files, greatly improving speed. Parallel execution improves throughput but is also available in some conventional utilities. Character set conversion ensures compatibility but doesn't speed up. Exporting to network file systems relates to storage flexibility, not direct performance gain. Oracle recommends direct path when possible for large datasets. Question 7. In light of recent developments in security auditing, Romero wants to track all drop table statements executed in the database, which method provides detailed information including the user, timestamp, and object affected. A. Enable standard statement auditing for drop table. B. Use database triggers on system events. C. Query the data dictionary for table metadata. D. Enable block change tracking. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Standard statement auditing for drop table records or executions with user, time, and object details in audit trails. Triggers could be used but are more complex and less efficient. Data dictionary queries won't capture event history. Block change tracking is for incremental backups, not auditing. Oracle's auditing framework is designed for compliance and forensic tracking of sensitive operations. Question 8. To illustrate this point, during a performance review, Ista Oli observes high library cache misses despite adequate shared pool size. Which issue is most likely causing this? A. Excessive full table scans. B. Fragmentation due to frequent object creation and drop. C. Poor redo log switch timing. D. Too many parallel query slaves. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Frequent creation and dropping of objects causes library cache fragmentation, increasing misses even when shared pool size is sufficient. Full table scans affect buffer cache, not library cache. Redo log switch timing impacts checkpoint activity, not library cache. Excessive parallel query slaves cause CPU contention but not directly library cache misses. Oracle recommends minimizing dynamic object churn. Question 9. Contrary to popular belief, setting the undo table space too large can have what unintended consequence? A. Increased redo generation. B. Extended retention of unneeded undo data. C. Frequent Aura 1555 snapshot errors. D. Inability to perform consistent reads. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Oversized undo table spaces can retain undo far beyond active needs, wasting space and delaying space reuse. It doesn't inherently increase redo generation or cause snapshot errors, which occur when undo is overwritten too soon. Consistent reads are still supported regardless of size. Oracle recommends sizing undo based on actual workload retention requirements, not excessively large defaults. Question 10. The most significant aspect of configuring Archivolog mode in production is ensuring which operational benefit: A. Ability to recover to any point in time. B. Faster query performance. C. Reduced redo log generation. D. Elimination of checkpoints. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Archivolog mode allows recovery to any point in time by retaining archived redo logs. It does not inherently improve query speed and redo generation remains the same. Checkpoints still occur as part of normal operation. Oracle DB8 best practice mandates Archivolog in production for full recovery capability and compliance with data retention policies. Question 11. When evaluating the merits of tuning the SGE, Fernandez notices that the database is running in automatic memory management mode, yet PGA usage is consistently at its maximum allocation. What adjustment could improve overall performance without manual PGA sizing? A. Increase memory target to allow more flexible distribution. B. Reduce SGA target to force more memory to PGA. C. Disable M and sub PGA manually. D. Increase shared pool size directly. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Increasing memory target in M allows Oracle to allocate more memory to PGA dynamically as needed, improve insert and join operations without manual PGA sizing. Reducing SGA target may stuff shared pool or buffer cache. Disabling M removes automatic flexibility. Increasing shared pool size doesn't address EGA shortages directly. Oracle recommends adjusting memory target when M manages both SGA and EGA. Question 12. Given the circumstances that Istipatel must restore a database from a cold backup taken 3 days ago and the database runs in archivolog mode, what is the most accurate recovery strategy to minimize data loss? A. Apply archive to redo logs generated since the backup. B. Open the database directly after restore. C. Drop and recreate all user schemas. D. Perform only control file recovery. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. In archivolog mode, applying all archive to redo logs generated since the backup recovers committed transactions up to the desired point, minimizing data loss. Opening without recovery would lose recent transactions. Dropping recreating schemas is destructive and unnecessary. Control file recovery alone doesn't restore changed data blocks. Oracle's recovery model uses archived logs to ensure complete restoration. Question 13. As a result of a system crash, SMON is performing instance recovery. Which two steps happen automatically during this process? A. Redo logs are applied to roll forward committed changes. B. Undo segments are used to roll back uncommitted changes. C. Control files are rebuilt from redo. D. User data files are recreated. Answer. Correct answer, C. Explanation. Instance recovery consists of roll forward using redo to apply all changes, then rollback using undo for uncommitted transactions. Control files are not rebuilt during normal instance recovery. They must already exist and be intact. Data files are also not recreated. The process works with existing files. This is part of Oracle's crash recovery mechanism to ensure consistency automatically. Question 14. Throughout the course of a batch data load, Ista Ibrahim decides to use direct path inserts into a large table. What is the primary advantage of this method over conventional inserts? A. It bypasses the buffer cache and writes blocks directly to data files. B. It automatically compresses inserted data. C. It avoids redo log generation entirely. D. It ensures row-level locking is disabled. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. Direct path inserts write blocks directly to data files, bypassing buffer cache, reducing CPU and latch overhead. It doesn't automatically compress data. Compression must be enabled separately. Redo logs are still generated unless explicitly disabled with no logging and still for metadata. Row-level locking still applies for concurrent access to related objects. Oracle uses this to speed up bulk loading. Question 15. By evaluating the causes of table space fragmentation, Wong finds that several segments have unused space, which Oracle-provided tool can help reclaim this space without dropping the segments. A. Segment Advisor. B. SQL Tuning Advisor. C. Our Report. D. Atom Analysis. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. Segment Advisor analyzes segment usage and recommends space reclamation actions such as shrink or move without dropping segments. SQL Tuning Advisor focuses on SQL performance, not space. iReport provides performance stats, but no reclaim actions. Atom offers high-level tuning suggestions, not direct segment analysis. Segment Advisor is part of the advisory framework for space management. Question 16. From multiple perspectives, why is multiplexing control files critical in an Oracle database? A. It reduces the number of required checkpoints. B. It ensures availability if a control file becomes corrupt. C. It improves query performance. D. It eliminates redo log switches. Answer. Correct answer, B. Explanation. Multiplexing control files stores identical copies on separate disks, ensuring the database can continue if one comes corrupt. It doesn't reduce checkpoints or improve query speed directly. Redo log switches still occur normally. Oracle best practice requires at least 2 control file copies in separate locations for fault tolerance and disaster recovery readiness. Question 17. To determine whether redo log switch frequency is optimal, Mr. Lawson observes frequent switches every 30 seconds during peak load. What is the recommended adjustment to reduce this rate without increasing checkpoint intervals dangerously? A. Increase redo log file size. B. Add more redo log groups of same size. C. Reduce log buffer size. D. Switch to no-cover log mode. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Increasing redo log file size extends the interval between switches without changing checkpoint behavior drastically. Adding more groups only delays reuse, but doesn't change frequency per group. Reducing log buffer size could increase delirice. Switching to NOR-Cavelog reduces recovery capability and is unsuitable for production. Oracle recommends sizing redo logs for 1520 minute switch intervals under peak load. Question 18. In response to a user complaint about Aura 1555 snapshot 2 old errors, Ista Santos checks undo table space usage. Which action is most appropriate to prevent recurrence? A. Increase undo table space size. B. Reduce query fetch array size. C. Disable undo retention. D. Use temporary tables for all queries. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Large fetch array sizes can cause long delays between undo block reads, increasing the risk of overwritten undo and snapshot errors. While increasing undo size may help, it's not always the root fix if queries fetch massive arrays. Disabling undo retention removes read consistency guarantee. Forcing all queries into temp tables is impractical. Oracle tuning often starts with optimizing fetch size and query logic. Question 19. Across different scenarios, an Oracle DBA configures a FRA but receives warnings that it's 95% full. What is the first step to resolve this without adding more disk space? A. Delete obsolete backups and archived logs using RMAM. B. Disable FRA temporarily. C. Switch to NOR-Cavelog mode. D. Move redo logs outside FRA. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. RMAN's delete obsolete removes backups and archived logs, no longer needed according to retention policy, freeing FRA space. Disabling FRA bypasses its management features and is temporary. Switching to NOR-Cavelog reduces recoverability. Moving redo logs outside FRA is not typically necessary unless logs are abnormally large. Best practice is to manage retention before expanding storage. Question 20. While examining the database alert log, is Keating sees repeated checkpoint not complete messages despite large redo logs? Which is the most likely cause? A. Insufficient EBO input to write dirty buffers. B. Excessive shared pool fragmentation. C. Too few control files multiplexed. D. Excessive PGA usage. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. Even with large redo log or beer, write dirty buffers fast enough to keep up it'll lock switches trigger. Checkpoint not complete warnings. Shared pool fragmentation affects passing, not checkpoints. Control file multiplexing impacts availability, not checkpoint timing. Hyper-geo usage affects sorts and joins, not redo log related checkpoints. Oracle recommends tuning up or adding more EPOSSs. Question 21. From a practical standpoint, during a heavy OLP workload, Ista Stewart notices that the shared pool is constantly fragmented despite sufficient size, leading to pass failures. What is the most effective way to alleviate this fragmentation? A. Enable cursor sharing to force or similar. B. Increase the size of the database buffer cache. C. Disable soft parsing altogether. D. Decrease the number of redo log groups. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. Increasing the database buffer cache size helps reduce physical EO and can indirectly reduce shared pool pressure by minimizing pass frequency. Enabling cursor sharing helps reduce hard passes but does not solve fragmentation directly. Disabling soft parsing is not possible as soft parsing is essential for reusing SUL. Decreasing redo log groups does not impact shared pool fragmentation. Oracle recommends tuning cache sizes to reduce pass overhead. Question 22. Considering the evidence, Kapoor is tasked with configuring profiles to enforce password complexity and limit resource usage. Which profile parameter directly limits the CPU time per session? A. CPU per session. B. Failed login attempt. C. Password lifetime. D. Sessions per user. Answer. Correct answer. A. Explanation. EPU per session defines the maximum CPU time a session can consume, controlling resource usage effectively. Failed login attempts and password lifetime relate to security but not resource limits. Sessions per user limits concurrent sessions, not CPU time. Oracle profiles provide granular control over resource consumption to protect system stability. Question 23. Given the circumstances ISTA observes frequent and queue waits due to lock contention on a critical table, what is the most appropriate first step to diagnose and resolve this issue? A. Query VLOOK and vsession views to identify blocking sessions. B. Increase the size of the undo table space. C. Disable locking mechanisms temporarily. D. Drop and recreate the affected table. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Disabling locking mechanisms is not feasible as it compromises data integrity and concurrency controls. Increasing undo table space doesn't directly solve lock contention. Dropping the table is destructive. The proper approach is to query VLOOK and vsession to find the sessions causing and waiting for locks, allowing targeted resolution. Oracle concurrency control relies heavily on lock management diagnostics. Question 24. Throughout the course of an import operation using data pump Johnson wants to ensure that dependent objects like indexes and constraints are recreated only after the data load completes. Which data pump option best achieves this? A. Using the transform equals disable constraints Y parameter. B. Setting the parallel degree to maximum. C. Using the network link parameter. D. Setting the content equals metadata only parameter. Answer. Correct answer, D. Explanation. Content equals metadata only exports or imports only metadata, which is useful for recreating indexes and constraints separately from data. Transform equals disable constraints disables constraints temporarily but does not separate their creation order explicitly. Parallel affects speed, not order. Network link is for network import-export. Oracle recommends controlling object creation stages for dependency management. Question 25. In a modern context of backup and recovery, ISTA-UN plans to perform incremental backups. What is the key benefit of using incremental backups over full backups? A. They reduce backup time and storage by capturing only changed data blocks. B. They eliminate the need for archive to redo logs. C. They require the database to be shut down during backup. D. They compress backup files automatically. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. Incremental backups record only data blocks changed since the last backup, saving time and storage. They still rely on archived redo logs for full recovery and do not eliminate their need. Oracle supports online incremental backups without shutdown. Compression depends on backup settings but is unrelated to incremental backups' core advantage. Question 26. By comparing various background processes, Gomez wants to prioritize troubleshoot USC, but which best described as primary responsibility. A. Writing redo log buffers to redo log files. B. Writing dirty buffers to data files. C. Cleaning up temporary segments. D. Monitoring user session activity. Answer. Correct answer. B. Explanation. eBears are responsible for writing dirty buffers to data files. Although writes redo log buffers to redo log files. Cleaning temporary segments is managed by SMON. Monitoring sessions is being Lura's role. Understanding these distinct process roles is critical for effective performance tuning and troubleshooting in Oracle. Question 27. The core principles of undo table space management emphasize avoiding ORA 1555 errors. Which approach best reduces the risk of these errors? A. Ensuring undo retention is set longer than the longest query duration. B. Reducing the size of the undo table space. C. Disabling automatic undo management. D. Increasing the number of redo log groups. Answer. Correct answer. C. Explanation. Disabling automatic undo management forces manual undo handling, increasing risk of errors. Increasing redo log groups affects redo handling, not undo. Reducing undo table space size worsens retention. Setting undo retention longer than the longest query ensures undo data is retained long enough for consistent reads, which is Oracle best practice to prevent snapshot too old errors. Question 20. The primary reason for configuring Oracle Managed Files OMF is to A. Simplify management by letting Oracle automatically create and name database files. B. Enable manual control over file locations and names. C. Disable file multiplexing. D. Force all table spaces to use raw devices. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. OMF relieves DBAS from specifying file names and paths, letting Oracle handle creation and naming, simplifying storage management. A manual control is opposite to OMF's purpose. Multiplexing remains an independent concept. Raw device forcing is unrelated. OMF adoption reflects Oracle's push for simplified administration and automated file management. Question 29. Within the framework of SQL loader usage, which scenario best warrants the direct path load method over conventional path? A. When loading large volumes of data rapidly with minimal logging. B. When performing complex data transformations during load. C. When loading data into external tables. D. When needing detailed row-by-row error logging. Answer. Correct answer, D. Explanation. Direct path load is faster, with minimal logging but limited error granularity. Complex transformations require conventional path. External tables are unrelated to SQL loader. Detailed row-by-row error logging is better supported in conventional path, not direct. Oracle recommends direct path for bulk loads with simpler error handling. Question 30. In summary of database security best practices, what is the most effective way to minimize privilege creep in large environments? A. Use roles to group privileges and assign roles rather than individual privileges. B. Grant privileges directly to all users. C. Avoid using roles to simplify management. D. Assign the DBA role to all developers. Answer. Correct answer, A. Explanation. Roles enable grouping privileges logically and assigning them efficiently, preventing privilege creep and simplifying audits. Granting privileges individually increases risk and complexity. Avoiding roles is contrary to best practices. Granting DBA to developers violates least privilege principle and risks security breaches. Oracle security guidelines emphasize role-based privilege management.